We actually have Donald Trump on
He's
the line right now,
great.
so I want to welcome in Donald Trump. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, sir.
Good morning. Those were words of wisdom that I just heard. It was one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen. They said he was quitting the race and to vote for him.
It's absolutely unthinkable that he would do it, but it's presidential politics. Want to see if you're going to consider filing
it's a total voter fraud when you think of it, and he picked up a lot of those votes, and that's why the polls were so wrong because of that.
So do you
I
plan
couldn't
on
understand why the polls were wrong?
Do you plan on filing some sort of formal complaint with the Secretary of State's office in
Well,
Iowa?
I think everybody is, and he did another thing that was almost as bad. He put out a voter violation certificate. I don't know if you got to see that. And he sent out, and it looked just like it was sent by government, and it talked about you're in violation. It says voter violation up top, one very official-looking stationery. Mm-hmm. And the way you clear it up is to go and vote for Cruz. I mean, the whole thing is incredible.
Want to get your reaction? Want to get your reaction to Rand Paul and the fact that he has decided to suspend his campaign?
Well, I think it was coming. It was something he had to do. He's going to try and become a senator again, and you just can't keep going on like he's going. It wasn't resonating, unfortunately, for him, and I think it's probably a good thing for him.
Thank you for joining us, Donald. So I'm just reading one of your tweets. It said, based on the fraud committed by Senator Ted Cruz during the Iowa caucus, either a new election should take place or Cruz results nullified. So do you think a new election should take place, or the results?
Based on what you just said, you probably don't think it's a bad idea either. You know, I mean, because I just picked up in the middle of your sentence. I'm not sure if you saw what I had tweeted before that.
Yeah. So will you file a formal complaint? You said that everybody is, but have you or will you?
Well, I probably will, yeah. No, what he did is unthinkable. Mm-hmm. He said the man has just left the race, and he said it during the caucus.
Right.
So, and then when the clarification, when a statement was put out by Ben Carson saying it's untrue, they got the statement and they didn't put it out.
You, I'm sure, have a bevy of very fabulous lawyers wondering if you're thinking about filing a lawsuit against him for this.
Well, the problem with politics, it's so dishonest. I mean, one of the problems we have is we have all these dishonest politicians, and politics is so dishonest. Did you ever hear of a thing like that? A man has just left the race. Essentially, they said he's quitting the race. Vote for me.
And knowing
many people did that. And then he put out a clarification. Not even a clarification. He put out a statement that it wasn't true. Meaning Ben Carson, who's a very good guy. He put out a statement that it wasn't true. Cruz got the statement, and they never released it.
Mr. Trump,
They apologized. They apologized after the caucus was over, the vote was over. Mm-hmm. They apologized. Well, how does that help?
Right.
Mr. Trump, you've talked about the unlikability of Senator Ted Cruz. His campaign distributed water to the city of Flint, Michigan last week, but only to anti-abortion counseling centers. What does that say about his campaign?
Well, that's an interesting thing. Look, he's a nasty guy. He's got no endorsements from the people that worked with him, United States senators. Think of it. Out of all of these senators, not one has endorsed him. And he works with them. He's a nasty guy. Nobody likes him. And I just thought this was a step too far. He did the voter violation certificate, and then he did the Ben Carson thing. And with me, I'm pro-life. He told everybody I was pro-choice. He also said I was totally in favor of Obamacare, and it's the exact opposite.
Right.
I'm so against every speech I say we have to repeal and replace Obamacare. Mm-hmm. And he said that. I mean, about me. This guy is really fraudulent.
Congratulations on your endorsement from Senator Scott Brown. You said it's great. Congratulations. He's a very nice guy, a friend of Herald Radio. You attended his No BS barbecue a little while back, and you said that he was straight out of central casting when it comes for a vice presidential pick.
There's no fraud there.
I wanted to ask you if you've actually spoken to Brown about maybe having him be your vice presidential pick privately, besides that one comment there.
No, I never spoke to him about it. And, the nice thing with Scott, he called and everybody wanted Scott. He's a respected guy, especially in the area, and loves the area, loves the people. And everybody wanted Scott Brown. And I called, and he called me, actually, and he just said, what you've done is amazing. We have a movement going on. It's a movement for a lot of things. I mean, there's so many things at play. There's strong borders, and there's education where we're so badly lacking. And you look at what we've done. We want trade where all of these countries don't. They're just stealing us. They're robbing us blind. You know it better than area. Look at your area. So many companies have been stripped from your area, and they're brought to other countries, and they're taken so stupidly away. And all of these things. And he's been watching this. A strong military. We want to take care of our vets. Our vets are being treated like third-class citizens. And we're going to, we've really got something going. And we're on the cover of Time magazine this week. And it's an amazing cover story because it talks about it. It's a movement. And I say people want competent leaders. We want to stop with the incredibly stupid decisions like the recent Iran deal where we give Iran $150 billion. We get nothing. And, so it was a wonderful endorsement. Scott called. He said, I'd love to endorse you. And he knows every other person running. That's not an easy endorsement because he's actually had them up to his barbecues. So it was a great endorsement. I'm very proud of it.
Ben Carson decided to go home after Iowa for a few days, which is sort of what started this whole issue with Ted Cruz. Is it really the time to go home and rest right now? I mean, we're in the playoffs.
Well, I guess, no, Ben was, but this was done with Cruz during the caucus, right? It was crazy. But, no, I would say maybe Ben is not going to play up there. I'm not sure of what he's doing. I know he's not leaving the race. Maybe he's waiting till he goes to South Carolina, which is next on line. I really don't know. I hadn't heard that one way or the other. I know he didn't leave the race. That's the point.
There's speculation if Hillary Clinton gets indicted and Bernie Sanders does end up becoming the Democrat nominee, that he might tap Senator Elizabeth Warren as his vice president. I interviewed Scott Brown this morning on Herald Radio and asked him what his reaction would that be to that, and he said that would be a complete disaster to America, having a Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren major socialist ticket. What is your take?
Right. I go ditto. That would be a complete disaster. I don't think it would be electable as a ticket, but that would be a complete disaster. We would be known as a communist country from henceforth.
Right.
Forget about socialism. I mean, the combination there, we will be known as a communist country. We will have come a long way from the original founders' dreams and wishes, from George Washington's original feelings, from when you think in terms of Thomas Jefferson and Benjamin Franklin. We will have gone a long way in the other direction if that happens.
Mr. Trump, you talked about potentially a new election or nullified results from Iowa. Have you talked to anybody from Iowa about this, officials from Iowa?
Well, they're very concerned. He's already under investigation for the voter violation paper that he issued to thousands of people. He's under investigation for that. And he's got some problems. I mean, look, it's just a fraud. How do you issue a paper that says voter violation, and then you get it and you get scared, and it gives you grades. It grades you for your participation. And they're Fs. And the only way you're going to clean it up is to go vote. I mean, and if you read that document, I'm pretty good with documents, and if you read that document, it looks like it was sent right out of a government office.
The latest poll that came out today from UMass Lowell and Channel 7 still has you at 38%, which is exactly what the Boston Herald and Franklin University poll had you at last week. I mean, this was taken after the Iowa caucus. So do you feel as though the voters of New Hampshire didn't pay too much attention to the Iowa caucuses?
Yes, I do.
And to that point, though, I just wanted to follow up just very quickly the fact that Iowa never seems to pick the party's nominee. So again, does this just discredit Iowa, frankly, that we shouldn't even be paying too much attention to the Iowa caucus and really that New Hampshire is where it begins?
Right. And New Hampshire picks many, many presidents, and many, many candidates, do very well coming out of New Hampshire. And New Hampshire is an amazing place. They have whatever it is. I would say this. I think I did very well in Iowa, especially in light of the way that Ted Cruz got some votes. That's why the polls were so off. Now everybody understands it. But I think I did very well. I think I bonded with the people. I had a great and I got a lot of votes. I got more votes than anybody else in the history of the Republican caucus other than Cruz. So when you think of it, we did well. But the one that I've been really waiting for, most people said, don't even go to Iowa because it wouldn't be for me. Go to New Hampshire. It's natural. And, we had 5,000 people last night. I was in New Hampshire. You probably heard about it, and made a speech. We had 5,000 people. 2 major auditoriums were packed. We had an overflow auditorium. And it was so incredible. The people are so incredible, and I bonded. For years I've known that. I've been up there so many times. I have so many friends in New Hampshire, and it's just a special place. It's just an amazing place, and the people get it. They really get it, and they love it. So, I'm really honored by your poll to be that high up, and maybe it's the fact that Tom Brady and I are friends, and he said such nice things about me.
Are you going to see maybe if he'll go out and speak to some voters for you in New Hampshire?
I think he would if I asked him to. I don't know if I want to ask him to do that. Right now he doesn't feel so great because of what happened. I mean, he was really mauled. I'll tell you, the offensive line was not exactly giving him lots of protection, unfortunately. But he is the finest guy. He's not only a great athlete, great quarterback, but he's a fine person, a great guy.
Donald,
I always say New England, the whole area, they're very lucky to have Tom, right?
That's right, absolutely. Donald, I want to mention that some pundits will say, they put out misinformation about your supporters. They'll say, only angry, rich, white guys support Donald Trump. That is not true at all. I went to one of your rallies in Lowell, thousands and thousands of people there, many, many people waiting outside. And I looked around the Tsongas Arena, and I saw so many women there supporting you, and it's very diverse. I saw blue-collar workers, union types of people, and just to let you know, my mother is 76 years old. She's a PhD. She's Hispanic. She came to this country legally as a young adult, and she's voting Trump. So there you go. You have an Hispanic female, my mom.
Want to just follow up?
That's so nice that you say that. And we filled up that center. Most people don't even go there because it's too big. We packed it and we sent away. Unfortunately, 5,000 people couldn't get in.
That's right.
And most people, they can't even think about using it because they'll draw 100 people. But we had it. It's a massive arena. We filled that up, and thousands of people were unable to get in. I mean, it was a fantastic evening, actually. And the people are great. The people of this country are great. We're going to do great with the Hispanics. We just won a poll with Hispanics in Nevada, just came out, and we're also going to do great with the African Americans. They know I'm going to bring back jobs. They know I'm not going to let countries rip us off. I mean, we're being ripped off on trade. We're being ripped off on the military. We are not doing well anywhere. I start some of the speeches by saying we don't win anymore. When was the last time this country won something like a war, won on trade? ISIS is beating us. We can't win anything. It's just terrible. It's incompetent leadership.
I wanted to just follow up regarding the Iowa caucuses and whether or not we should reconsider where the first caucus begins. Should it be New York or California, Florida, or Ohio instead next time around?
Well, I think that's a subject that a lot of people are looking at, whether or not Iowa is representative of really the nation and whether or not it should be in that position. I can tell you, you look at New Hampshire, they've done really well. If you just look at the results of New Hampshire over many, many years, it's been very representative of the country. And, therefore you have had many elections, people coming out of New Hampshire. Iowa's a very big, a lot of people are talking about that. I like the tradition of Iowa. I really enjoyed it. I really like the people up there, and we got along great. I mean, a lot of people didn't think I should even go to Iowa, and I came in. Actually, I came in probably first, if you think about it. But so I like the tradition, but I know a lot of people are talking about changing.
Donald, just to pivot to national security for a moment, there are many countries throughout Europe and even in Africa that have banned the full burqa from being worn in public, especially at, let's say, government buildings or border crossing checkpoints, because when a woman's face is veiled, assuming it's a woman, you can't identify that person. So if they committed a crime or an act of terror, the law enforcement couldn't even identify them. But also these full long burqas, many countries are banning them because in an age of terror, there could be explosives hidden under these burqas, right, guns, machetes. And just last week, UK Prime Minister David Cameron, backed a burqa ban in schools, courts, and in border checkpoints. Do you think that we should do the same here in the United States?
I'm okay with it. I know you're shocked to hear me say this, right? I'm okay with it. I'm all for it.
I want to ask you a question about John Kerry and the fact that he actually used his private email account to send emails to Secretary of State Hillary Clinton at the time. He was, of course, a U.S. Senator. Do you think that he should be prosecuted for doing exactly what Hillary Clinton's accused of?
Well, I'm not a Kerry fan for a different reason. He negotiated perhaps the worst deal this country's ever made when he made the deal with Iran, giving him back $150 billion, getting nothing in return, absolutely nothing. It's one of the worst and dumbest deals I've ever seen. Took so long to do. The prisoners should have been released years ago. We essentially paid a ransom of $150 billion, and it sets a horrible precedent, and you're going to have nuclear proliferation because of that agreement. So I'm no fan of John Kerry, and, frankly, whatever he did was probably wrong because he makes so many mistakes, as do most of our officials in Washington, but I am not a fan.
Mr. Trump, one thing that I've seen throughout this campaign that is truly amazing, how you were able to connect with blue-collar workers,
right.
Reagan Democrats. Mitt Romney was the last nominee for the Republican Party in 2012, a rich guy, not as rich as you, but he wasn't able to connect with those blue-collar workers, those people that are like that. How are you able to connect where Mitt Romney wasn't able to connect with those people?
Well, I grew up in Brooklyn and Queens in New York, and my father built houses and housing, and I worked for my father, and I worked with construction crews, and I worked with the firemen and the policemen, and I love them all. I mean, these are the greatest people. And for some reason, you're right. They always say, how come Trump, who's worth many billions, connects and Romney didn't connect? And he was a nice man, Romney, but he didn't connect. I mean, there was a big, it was really beyond not connecting. And I have, I have the policeman's endorsement in New England. I have so many policemen endorsing me, and so many construction workers are endorsing me. And those are the people I get along best with. Frankly, I don't get along really great with rich people. I don't get along with the super rich, and I want to raise their taxes for one thing. But I'm lowering the taxes for the middle class. I mean, big league. But it is true. I have an unbelievable relation. And every poll that comes out says, wow, look at this. Trump gets along. I've got numbers that are through the roof. I mean, we're beating people by miles with the blue-collar workers, the concrete guys, and the electricians, and the woodworkers, and those are the people I get along with best. Frankly, those are the people I like. I really like those people. Those are incredible people.
Governor Christie has been really attacking Senator Marco Rubio, calling him a baby in a bubble, essentially not answering questions of the media. You have been a friend to Herald Radio, coming on a bunch, answering all of our questions. Just want to get your reaction to that. And do you feel as though Marco Rubio isn't sort of spending that time with the press, answering the questions after events, coming on radio shows, and he's sort of isolating himself in this campaign?
Well, I love the fact that they're attacking each other, and there's so many people out there attacking me that I'll stay out of that one. But I love watching them attack each other, okay? I think it's very pretty.
Mr. Trump, one more question from me. Many media outlets, the Washington Post, the New York Times, the New Yorker, have documented how white supremacists are rallying behind you, contributing money to your campaign, making robocalls on behalf. Just a comment on any of those reports that have come out from those media outlets.
Well, I don't know anything about it. And I don't accept money. I'm self-funding other than small donations where people send it. You can't send people back $100 because they're really investing in the campaign. That's good money, I call it. That's not the bad money. That's the good money. And I accept that because, frankly, it would cost more money to send it back. But I accept small contributions, but it doesn't amount to very much relative to. So I'm self-funding my campaign. I'm not accepting money, and I'm the only person that's self-funding, and a lot of people really like that I'm self-funding, although I don't know that it's really that appreciated. I would have made Jeb Bush's fund look like peanuts. He took in $128 million. I would have taken in much more than that. But once you do that, you're influenced by all of these people that put up the money. So I am a self-funder. The only one on either side that's self-funding his campaign. But I don't know anything about that. I haven't heard much about it. But, that's it. I haven't really heard that question asked very much.
Governor Chris Christie has just come out saying that he believes Hillary Clinton should be prosecuted for the way she mishandled and blatantly broke the laws and the rules regarding her homebrew email server. Do you agree with Governor Christie? Does she belong?
Based on what all of the lawyers have said, and these are experts in that field, I would have to agree because what she did is wrong. So I would agree with that, yes.
Do you think that Bernie Sanders is going to win New Hampshire? What's your prediction?
Yes, I think he'll win New Hampshire, but then he'll probably start a big losing streak after that.
Mr. Trump.
Once he gets into South Carolina and the other areas, I think he's going to have a big losing streak. But I think he's going to win New Hampshire. And much more importantly, I think Trump is going to win New Hampshire. And I'm going to represent New Hampshire much, much better and much, much stronger. And they're going to like me much better than they like Bernie.
Mr. Trump, two quick questions. In the long run, do you look at Marco Rubio as your biggest threat to the nomination?
I look at everybody. I don't look at him or anybody else. I look at everybody. People emerge. You never know what's going to happen. So I'm sort of watching everybody. Even people that are a little bit down in the polls, I watch them because you just don't know what's going to happen.
Your favorite quarterback's not playing on Sunday in Super Bowl 50. Who are you rooting for, Denver or Carolina?
Well, I'm not rooting for either. I'm a Tom fan. I think Tom is the greatest there is, and he's I know Tom very well, and he's just a great person. Beyond the great football ability and athletic ability, he's a great person. So I'm a Tom fan. I don't care who wins, actually. I'm going to watch the game. It'll be interesting, but I don't have a pick.
We're going to let you go. Just wanted to find out if you're going to watch the CNN town hall with Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders tonight.
I'll try to as an obligation. I should, but it's so hard. It is so hard. It is so boring. It is so hard to watch. Much rather watch Trump, okay?
Donald Trump, I just want to mention you real quick that I got married at one of your hotels at the Plaza in 1998, one of your former properties. It was so well run.
And did the marriage work out?
It did. It's still going.
Then I'm happy. Okay, that's all that matters. Don't even tell me. I know it was nice, but if it worked out, that's all that matters. Well, I want to thank you all, and I want to thank you for that incredible poll. And I love the people of New Hampshire, and I promise them, and I promise you, that I'll do a really, really good job representing them, and I hope I'm going to be successful in winning it. And, we're not so far away. Right after the weekend, the vote takes place on the 9th, and I look forward to it.
Donald Trump, thank you so much for your time. Best of luck. We hope to speak with you again after you win New Hampshire.
Thank you very much. I will.
Thank you.